Welcome into this Tuesday edition, Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready. I am back in the Clark Ford studio from Omaha, Nebraska. Ole Miss, I'm sure you're aware by now, has won the national championship.
Oh, really?
So, well, yeah, apparently so.
In what?
Women's golf last year.
Yeah.
And,
Heard that.
and baseball over the weekend, apparently. So we'll put a wrap on that. Talk a little interesting NIL stuff going on with Jaden Rashada.
Yeah, that's
Miami
one word.
over the weekend. Interesting the way you put it.
I mean, that's a word.
It fits.
I mean, you're not wrong. Not sure that's the word I'd use.
Area team wins game when they win the title. Yeah, it's a little bit, but it's okay. YouTube is telling me to insert ads. I think we're okay. I'm not.
They've been doing that for a while.
What are we doing? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So you know what it is? I think it's because we got over 5,000 finally. So thank you to everybody, by the way.
No, we're 10 away. It's
no,
$49.90, isn't it? Oh, really?
I think we're past it.
Oh, are we?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
That's
Hold
why
on.
I was doing it.
I'm about to find out.
All right.
We're at 5,016 subscribers.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
Thank you to everybody who hit the like button.
Yeah,
Keep hitting the like
apparently
button.
that opens some things up. I don't know. I haven't looked to see what that does, but it does something.
And thank you to all of you who have hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. We'd like, if you're not subscribing, hit the subscribe button. That'd be really cool. If you want to be notified, hit the bell. But none of that costs you anything. But the likes and the subscribe, they help us. And so if you like us, and if you're here at 8:24 in the morning, you at least don't have a great.
You don't hate us, at least.
You don't hate us. So
yeah,
do that for us. We'd appreciate it.
So we'll do some wrap. Sorry, first of that, let's pay some bills. Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Exxon mobile app. Hope you have used that. If you're coming to town, for the parade, the ceremony on Wednesday, you can fill up on the way in or out of town. And when you do that, you can take a picture of the QR code. It'll open up the app automatically. $10 off, 1,000 bonus points just for opening up the app and using it there at all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi. Lunch specials, $5.69, two sides bread, 32-ounce drinks. And July 4th coming up, we got rib specials. We'll talk about those as the week goes on. Slabs, plates, tons of different things there with the Oxford Exxon. So make that part of your catering menu for 4th of July. That is not far away. Again, coming from the Clark Ford studio.
We're in the Clark Ford studio. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. There's no hassle. There's no haggle. You get your quote. The rest completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that is hop into a Clark Ford today. You'll absolutely love the service. You'll love the product. Corey and the people at Clark Ford, they want to be your car guy. They want to be your truck guy. They'll prove it to you when you make the call. 662-257-1900. Guest join on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford, a great place if you're coming in for the parade and all that stuff. Stop by Rafters. Grab a burger, a po' boy, a beer, an appetizer, full bar. It's a fun place to hang out, get out of the heat for a minute. And also, don't forget Rafters in New Albany. And then this weekend, if you're hanging out on the water, out at Sardis, stop by Rafters on the water. Get a frozen margarita, beers, burgers, the works, all that stuff. Rafters on the water at Sardis.
Then one, this is going to be final, but one more thank you to the Clearwater Group, to Corinth Dental for all the help throughout the last week and a half for the College World Series. I guess almost 2 weeks now. It's been going a while. Compressed schedule was nice. It did kill a little time there. But really, thanks to those guys. Been friends of ours for a really long time and made that possible without too much worry and trouble over the last week and a half. Yeah, people ask about my logistics. I was just trying to not do anything stupid. I was moving around a lot because had Ole Miss not won, I was trying to get out of there as soon as possible. So I kept checking in and out of places based on.
It wasn't me being cheap?
No. It was based on wins and losses. Is what
I saw a couple people trying to blame me, and I was like, everything's my fault.
Yeah, he had no. I don't think Neal even knew my travel plans. Nevertheless, told me anything to do with them. So I was. Had Ole Miss not won the title, we would have been leaving at different times and different things. So that was the goal there. So it was not monetary necessarily on why I was while I was doing that. Because look, credit to all you guys. I mean, we've talked about this a ton, but the fan support, the number of people in Omaha, I don't know that Neal had kind of a good line and 10 thoughts for it. I don't really know exactly what to say about it because it was so extreme. But you guys stayed up all night, drove all night, spent money, spent vacation budgets, all those different things. I mean, it was one hell of an environment. And in every way. I mean, I was sitting by Eddie with Sooner Scoop for the finals, and which I could sit by him every day. He was fun.
Eddie's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. And a couple of times he's just like, "What the hell is going on?" And it's like,
it's hard to explain.
Yeah, I was like, I'll give you the 2-minute version, and you can kind of see whatever. Because Oklahoma, I don't think they had 1,000 people there.
Right.
I don't somebody had told me they didn't sell their 700 ticket allotment that they just get from the College World Series.
No sweat for the people in Omaha. They got.
They were fine.
They were fine.
Yeah.
No, it was couple things real quick. Hold that thought because I do want to get back to that thought because I think it's interesting. First, thanks to Marine Rebel. He says we did it. I still can't believe it. I cried. I screamed. We really did the whole thing. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. And while we're thanking people, thanks to the College Corner, that ended up being a great. It ended up being a great deal. We started it, I guess, after Game 2 of the Super Regional against Southern Miss, and I was kind of putting a bow on it yesterday with obviously an invoice and stuff, and we did Auburn, Arkansas, Oklahoma in a very short period of time. Like just then when nobody knows what this means. I was going to the scenes on a drag down menu to go to the proper scene, and I almost hit preview show because that's what I was using for the post game show. I literally almost went there. I was like, no, that's not what we're doing. Because I've done more of those than we've done these over the last 10 days. But, yeah, it's all cool. So my thought was Oklahoma got a welcome to the SEC moment.
You think so?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Like, I don't think Oklahoma – and I know they've played big football games. I know they play the game against Texas every year at the State Fair and all that stuff, and it's big. I get it. And I'm sure when they go to Iowa State, it's kind of rabid or whatever. I don't think Oklahoma has any idea what LSU's like, what Ole Miss is like.
In week on week on week. Not the one time this year you're going to see whatever. But, I mean, you're going to go to Kentucky, and it's going to be you better show up.
They're going to be geeked up. Yeah, you're going to go to Mississippi State, and they're going to be ringing the bells, and you're going to go to wherever. I mean, when Oklahoma shows up at Arkansas, it's going to be a big deal. When Oklahoma shows up at Ole Miss, it's going to be a big deal. When Oklahoma shows up at LSU, they're going to be out there going, okay, we want to show you what we're all about.
I'll tell you something that's interesting along those lines, and it's not fan-related, but we were talking to some Oklahoma media, some Oklahoma admin kind of people and things along those lines, I guess prior to Game 1. And they're a little concerned about facilities and amenities and some of those things related to the SEC from a function standpoint. Apparently their press box has not been updated in a really, really long time. It would be one of the weaker ones in the SEC. They don't have even some like photo areas under the stadium that are necessary for the way the SEC operates on a game day. That they basically have 2 years before they get in the league or whenever it's going to be, to update things to even an SEC level from a media logistics standpoint, because that's never been an emphasis before. And it's something I never even thought about. I just assumed they had really great facilities because they're Oklahoma, and they don't.
No.
They said that they're behind in a lot of ways that aren't necessarily known or obvious to a lot of people, that they have a lot of things to do prior to.
I did that show on the days completely run together. I think it was Friday. It was before the final started with Kerry Murdoch. And he was talking about how, Oklahoma football kind of wants a couple of years. That at first it was like, yeah, let's get in. And the more that they've evaluated where they are compared to the rest of the league, they're like, you know what? Let's take our time. Let's do this right. Let's slow down. So Kerry thinks it's 2025 before Texas and OU join the league. And he thinks at this point that's what they want. Even though they know they're leaving a ton of money on the table, they don't want to be embarrassed.
They need that level of...
Need some time. To not only build a roster, but build infrastructure and knowing that stuff's coming. I'm going to hazard a guess that there's more Florida and LSU media than there are Iowa State and Texas Tech media. I'm just going to guess. And more fans and more everything.
I think Oklahoma at this thing, and Norman and Oklahoma City are 6.5, 7 hours from Omaha, they said. I mean, I haven't driven it, but that's what I heard.
That sounds about right.
So Eddie lives in Oklahoma City, and he said it took him about 6:45, 7, somewhere in there. I guess they brought, by the championship, they brought, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 media members. But early in the week, it was like 2. I don't even think some of the larger papers in Oklahoma, did not send anybody early in the week. He said he said it's just that baseball is a clear number 4 at Oklahoma from a fan standpoint because of what softball has done. And frankly, it was a home series essentially, so it doesn't really count. But they were spending a lot of time at the Women's College World Series.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a budget buster. Just drive 20 minutes
and back home. Yeah, you're in your house at that point. So I don't know. I mean, the fan stuff, because look, I mean, we could kind of rattle on, and I talked about this with Neal on the post-game show. We got a podcast from the road with Ben Garrett yesterday you can listen to. The last half is a lot of really significant baseball talk. The last half.
What about the first half?
The last half is a lot of really good baseball talk. It's a cleansing for Ole Miss in so many different ways, because I kind of got the same thing. You know, we talked about this, and I'll be quick. Quick aside there. Where are we with the Dubuque guy?
We have exchanged DMs, but that's as far as we've gotten.
Okay, I need to send you a cell number.
I don't have a cell number.
I got Calvin Harris's dad text me about it last night.
Okay.
So we are negotiating and getting this done currently. I will follow up with that. But I kept getting asked, what was it like? What was whatever? And obviously, I'm not the team. I'm not coaches. I wasn't feeling the same they were feeling. But it is still kind of hard to process in the moment. Like, you're watching all this stuff and you're trying to pick out, okay, as a media member, as somebody who has to bring color back to you guys, hey, what am I looking at? What am I remembering? What am I trying to do here? What is the goal as I'm kind of scanning the place? And as I said right after, and I said now, it just comes back to people so much. I mean, that's it. I mean, and it's everybody from a people standpoint. It's coaches, it's players, it's fans, it's the family of coaches. I mean, I mentioned this yesterday that I think we always talk about, hey, Mike misses things. Well, his kids miss their dad. It goes both ways.
Yeah, sure.
Drew Bianco is sitting there on the field hugging his dad after he wins a national championship yesterday. He's missed a lot of stuff from his dad, not just the other way around.
Of course.
I mean,
his dad missed a bunch of his games.
There's so many people things in this.
No, I thought that was one of the coolest scenes on the field was the family thing. I mean, come on. That's
25 years. I mean, the making.
I mean, that's what you – the older you get, Mike and I are about the same age.
He's 55.
I mean, he's a little older than me. But you get to this point, I mean, I'm 52. And, like, what matters to me? Family. What about after family? That's about it. I mean, I care about other stuff. I put a lot of pride in my work and those kind of things. But what do I care about? What motivates me at this point in my life? Family. And that was the first thing he thought of on Sunday when he won that title. I guarantee you was what his family has been through over the years and this spring. I mean, it's not just his life goal; it's been his family's life. Yeah, and what was coming 4 weeks ago was going to affect more than just him. The damnedest thing ever. I mean, it's insane. Because he celebrates with his team quickly, and then he finds Cammie and Drew and Ben and Sam and Catherine. I don't think Michael Jr. was there. Right. And it's cool. I mean, curious. I don't think change is the right word, but I am kind of curious, without knowing the right word, how he changes moving forward. He probably doesn't know yet. Yeah. This takes any type of edge off. And I don't mean like way he handles people, just in general. Because, like I said, he's a better coach now than he was a decade ago. Sure. He's learned people better. Sure. He's adapted to, hey, I really have to coach different people different ways and pick my spots. I can't just yell and scream every day. I can't just glad hand every day. I've got to really figure out what today's goal is. I mean, he talked about that a lot, that when he shows up at the park every day, it's, okay, what's the structure of today? How do I need to be, and how do I present to them what they need today? And then we get tomorrow, we'll do the same thing. Mm-hmm. And you're being authentic, but at the same time, there are tones and challenges and ways that you do that.
And I think that's what he has gotten so much better at from that point. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, he was loose this whole postseason. He was. Other than a couple in-game things on Wednesday, it was the loosest he's ever been in his coaching and just how he's responded and acted toward people in his entire career.
You know, I taped with Peyton Chatney last night. It's up, by the way. It's in podcast form. It's up at YouTube as well. Episode 12, the finale with Peyton. Peyton talked about how they got a little tight kind of that Wednesday, Thursday. Mm-hmm. They were all cheering for Auburn.
They admitted it.
Oh, yeah.
Auburn wasn't beating them twice.
No. And they knew that Arkansas could, and they knew –
basically, that's been a gorilla.
What I wrote, well, not even that. I mean, basically, he talked about how no one was kidding themselves. He knew they were going to answer the bell, and there was pressure. I mean, I think they thought if Auburn could beat Arkansas, they'll be, hey, we won 2, we're happy, get smoked on Wednesday and be done with this. And it didn't happen like that, and there was a moment there. There was some dread, and he talked about how Wednesday night he could barely sleep. He just wanted to go ahead and play. So there was a moment of tightness, but God, that story needed a moment of tightness. Otherwise, it's a Disney movie.
Well, it wasn't even a movie. There's no adversity in the last one.
Yeah, okay, I mean, great. It's like,
hey, what happened in the climactic part? I don't know. They beat the hell out of everybody 10-0.
Yeah.
Oh, well, cool.
I mean, I've said this enough times now that it's being repetitive.
It's Iceland hockey if the Mighty Ducks don't show up.
I still remain shocked that Elko didn't hit a home run in the 8th inning. Stunned.
You just kind of looked at it when I had.
Oh, I mean, I literally was watching his at bat going, he's going to hit one 480 feet right here. Missed pitch. And then it didn't happen. And I
will say this: his ground ball was really important. It moved that thing to third right there. That is an underrated at bat. He had 2 underrated at bats in that game. That one and then that 11 pitch at bat earlier in it that extended Horton's pitch count up when he was just cruising.
Yeah.
And he ends up getting out on a pretty close call on a full count, but that was very significant right there. That was a big deal. So I forgot to mention this if you were listening to this podcast. We have changed some things up. Announcement of that coming soon, but you need to switch Spotify accounts. We are still on Spotify. However, there is a new Spotify account. Search MPW Digital. I think it will have Blue Wire as the network under it, but find this one. So change your Spotify account if you're on Spotify. I know that some people are struggling with that. I got a text from Brian about it a few minutes ago. That's what you need to do. You need to just go to Spotify, search. You'll find it. Click over, subscribe on that Spotify account. If you're an Apple user, you're good. No problems. You're all good as you are.
Well, what about the people who use Podbean?
They're using Spotify through Podbean.
Okay.
So that is a Spotify thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we have a very small, I mean, when I say very small, 30 people who use it through straight Podbean. We'll figure it out. I know I'm ruining your day a little bit, but it is what it is. So
if you're one of those 30 people, you need to subscribe.
Spotify, Apple.
Right.
Wherever you find your podcast. Yeah, that's the goal there. So just do that. Sorry, quick aside.
We're probably announcing this sometime next week, probably, is my guess.
Yeah, it's not on our side, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not our call. But yes, I do believe that is there. Yeah, see, doors are all saying there. Yeah, sorry. Find the other one. It's there. And actually, if you wouldn't mind, do it while we're on the show and tell me it worked. I would appreciate that.
That would be awesome.
If not, I need to know so I can.
We can communicate with.
Yeah, that way I can get you guys a link and then put it in the other spot.
So there's your homework. Doors rules.
Yeah. Well, checks in the mail.
Yeah.
No, I wrote about it. Everybody kind of did something. I mean, this was a team that just they didn't, other than Jacob Gonzalez in the 6th, won the game there late with small ball. I mean, they got a couple hits. They ran Horton. I understand why Skip Johnson went to his All-American closer. He did not make the wrong call there. I know it blew up, but that was the right move.
About to go 4th time through the lineup, and McCants had just hit a ball that just missed him. I mean, McCants almost took his head off.
Yeah.
And he'd thrown 100-and-something pitches in the heat. He was tired.
He did not want bench Gonzalez and Elko back to see him a 4th time right there. Go to your closer, who has done a hell of a job, and we're good. Okay, good. Yeah. Go to your closer, and then the first one was a cross-up. The second one, I don't know what happened. I mean, in both games against Ole Miss, Oklahoma catcher Jimmy Crooks just couldn't catch the baseball. I think he's been pretty good all year. I don't think that was a liability for him. I think it was fan-related. I think they got freaked out.
I do too.
Because the more I thought about it, that Game 1 press conference, when they got up there and they said all these things, and I went, they're trying to convince themselves right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're rattled and going,
it wasn't trash talk. It was they were trying to tell each other, hey, we're okay. We can handle this. But they couldn't hear. Like Peyton told me after the show, I asked him, I said, I didn't want to do this on the show because I was just curious. When you went through the wall like that, what happened? You know, remember that play where he just goes crashing through
Yeah.
And he said that normally in those situations, Dunhurst would be yelling, out. The ball's out. You're not going to get there. Chill.
Yeah.
And Peyton says, I never heard him say that. So I just kept going. And he goes, we got in the dugout. And Hayden was like, bro, did you not hear me yell out? And
oh,
goes,
really?
No. Yeah. He goes, no, I couldn't hear anything. So it's kind of what I wrote in 10 Thoughts. Turns out I was right. Like,
and that's just in the middle of a play.
Yeah, Kyle, the broadcaster for
Kyle Peterson.
Peterson, yeah. I want to say Hamilton for some reason. Kyle Peterson said this is like Swayze, and I was like, respectfully, no, this was two Swayzes.
Yeah,
which
it's a football stadium.
We've never experienced two Swayzes.
Yeah,
and there's a difference between 25,000 and 13,000. There just is.
Yeah, it's loud. It's in the way the stadiums, but they're kind of on you. I mean, Oklahoma had no fans there. It was all against them. They couldn't hear. It was chaotic.
Yeah.
They could never calm down. There was in pressure moments. Even in the first game early on when Ole Miss is kind of rolling, they're freaking out and throwing wild pitches and all over the place. And
football teams practice with crowd noise.
Yeah.
To acclimate themselves for, hey, we're going to go to Baton Rouge and we can talk what we want to talk, but it's going to get loud.
Yeah.
Baseball teams don't practice with crowd noise because you don't think, hey, let's go acclimate for what's going to – no. How could you have prepared for that?
Mm-hmm.
If Skip Johnson might do it the next time if he gets there, but they might.
I mean, only if he's playing Ole Miss or Arkansas, but or LSU.
Yeah, I mean, jeez.
Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting and understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
While I'm doing this, you might want to answer a few people in the thread that are having a hard time finding it.
Sure.
We're also brought to you by Holcomb Portable Buildings, 7991 Holcomb in Holcomb, Mississippi. It's at Holcomb, they custom build your building to your specifications. However you want your carport, ATV, or storage shed, barn, hunting cabin, or other buildings, Holcomb Portable Buildings can accommodate you. You pick the color, the style, the windows, and the doors, and Holcomb Portable Buildings makes it happen. In-house financing is available, free delivery and set up within 75 miles of Holcomb. For more information, call 662-226-2233 or go to holcombbuildings.com. Find them on Facebook or Instagram at Holcomb Portable Buildings. It's they're still celebrating the championship at Dead Soxy. Get 35% off by using the promo code Rebel Grove. Go look for the beer shower socks. They've got some other kind of Ole Miss specific socks. You just look in the team. I don't have it in front of me. I can't remember exactly where you go, but you'll find it on the site. I found it before. It's easy to find. DeadSoxy.com, promo code Rebel Grove, and get 35% off from the people at Dead Soxy. Game Changer patches are the only two-patch system available in the market to stop hangovers before they start. The warm-up patch used before or while you drink. The overtime patch used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. The all-natural ingredients keep you in the game and ready for the next place. Go to GameChangerPatch.com, promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase. I know that Clay McNutt was in Omaha over the weekend. I think he was heading back yesterday, getting back to it at ACS, Automation and Control Systems, LLC. It's a complete electrical control system solution provider and a Rockwell Automation recognized system integrator. ACS has a full-time dedicated emergency service and troubleshooting staff and a UL 508A panel shop. They can custom tailor software packages, custom design electrical control panel solutions, and much, much more. ACS is a full-service AutoCAD services provider and a full-service fiber optic cabling solution provider. You can reach them at acsllcms.com or call 662-601-4381. And we're brought to you by Lammons Fine Jewelry in Oxford. Lammons, 1126 North Lamar Boulevard. has been serving the Oxford area for 3/4 of a century. Engagement rings, wedding rings, fine jewelry, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more. Lamons is the gold standard in fine jewelry. Visit them at lamonsfinejewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777.
Podcast also brought to you by Johnston Hill Creamery. That's johnstonhillcreamery.com on White Oak Lane, just off Molly Bar in Oxford. Today is another Tasting Tuesday. Remember, 11 to 3, June through August, to celebrate summer. They'll have one house cheese, one house condiment available to sample each Tuesday. Come back week after week to try new options. Again, that's 1503B White Oak Lane in Oxford. So you can stop in, say other things while they're there. They make all their cheeses locally in-house every single day. Also have a great lunch menu. It's available through Fetch Delivery and much more. So Instagram, Johnston Hill Creamery, to see pictures of their newest creations, or call 662-419-9201. Okay, so I sent an email. We'll get an answer to that. Get that to you as soon as possible for that link. I can probably find it myself, but I'm having a hard time doing that while we're talking. So I'll do it when we get done. But nonetheless,
talking and downloading and emailing at the same time. As I discovered on Sunday night, that is really hard.
It's a bit of a problem. I mentioned this briefly yesterday. You and I might have talked about it, but it stayed on my mind, so I'm going to go here for 30 seconds, then we'll move on. He's a bit of a curmudgeon. I don't know that I even necessarily like him personally when I've dealt with him, but I feel really bad for Dave Van Horn today. Like, there's something about... Yesterday was the 4-year anniversary since the drop pop-up, and everybody was kind of talking about it in baseball Twitter. I was seeing it all over the place, and he's kind of become the bad luck guy in a way. I mean, talking about a guy that's been there 20 years now. They're perennially good. It is so hard to win the damn thing.
That's the story.
And he's quickly becoming the new Mike Martin, who makes Omaha nonstop and just can't quite win it for whatever reason. And frankly, he has more resources than Martin had at Florida State.
He's now a dropped pop fly and a Dylan DeLucia masterpiece away from having.
Because we both believe they would have won it had they gotten there.
Yeah, Peyton does too, by the way.
Did he?
Yeah.
He thought the Arkansas Ole Miss winner was winning it.
He said he kind of thought it that day.
Yeah, I almost kind of want to go back and watch their body language at the end of that game now. I was busy and I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, I think both teams deep down thought that. No disrespect to Oklahoma, but I've written this and I'm almost hesitant to do it because people throw the Arkansas thing at me, which gets really old, by the way. I've covered the league for a while, even before my kids went there, so I'm familiar with who they are as a program. You knew they were going, because of who they are and their DNA and their talent, you knew they were going to show up. The Ole Miss crowd wasn't going to impact the Arkansas kids.
No, of course not.
They've played in front of those kinds of crowds. They've been to Oxford. They've played Oxford, Ole Miss, and Fayetteville.
Well, and they would have had a big crowd too.
Right. You could have put them in the Saturday environment and the Sunday environment, and they would have handled it better than Oklahoma.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
Because they played in this league. They've played at Box. They've played at Duty Noble. They've played at Swayze.
It's going to be all right.
They're going to be all right. When they play at their place, it gets loud. Yeah. They're used to that. Ole Miss was not going to get freaked out by crowd.
Yeah.
Oklahoma got freaked out by the crowd. I mean, I won't use the words that a couple of people I've talked to have used, but
oh, really?
Yeah. I mean,
even before the game, they kind of are looking around and they almost psyched themselves out a little bit. Like I felt like before the game, you're watching Oklahoma and they're watching everybody else, and kind of the moment was big for them.
That shortstop's a hell of a player, and he looked like he was about to wet his pants.
He was terrible all weekend. Awful.
It was too much. And dude is a great
He's
player.
An All-American.
Look at his numbers. Awful. Look at his performance in the previous games. And then look at that and tell me that you don't think the atmosphere impacted him. Of course it did. And I'm not faulting him. He's a young guy. He'll be better the next time. I mean, he's a talented player.
Sure.
You don't put those numbers up unless you're a stud.
Yeah, sure.
Period. But, yeah, I think – I mean, you go back and look at his last few years, the fly balls, the balls in the air in play to win the national championship, and you don't. Then you have, I guess, the COVID year. No, you had something else. Yeah, it went to that's the year they beat. I don't know. They had the COVID year. Where
they lost to Oregon State in 18, and they've been to the World Series in 19. And was they go last? No, they got beat by NC State, the best team in the country, and lost.
NC State got super hot and beat them with cops. And then this year, but This year's a little different. Like, I don't think Van Horn's losing as much sleep this time. This team was not as good as those two teams. The team that played Oregon State, that beat Ole Miss, and the team that last year that lost to NC State in the Super Regional, those were better teams than this team.
But your frustration on this season is because situational, that you were that close and you were 2 runs away from Ole Miss and then you win it. That's why you're upset this year. Not because, we had this powerhouse roster that had to win right now. Yeah, I mean, their ace wasn't even on the freaking field. I mean, Peyton Pillette's been out all year.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, because Van Horn, he wasn't fine, but he was proud of where his guys had gotten at the end of that College World Series when it was over. That was his press conference message to them, is just kind of, hey,
you and I have talked about this before. I know the fan bases don't like one another and the social media and stuff, but the two programs, there's not a lot of difference in them. Very similar. They both play the game the right way. They don't do all that bat flippy stuff. They don't do a lot of trash talking.
They're virtually the same program, and Mike's a little better promoter.
That's it.
And that's
it.
Dave's not as comfortable with that aspect of the.
But they've both built incredible game day environments, and I mean you could do a lot worse than having one of those guys running your program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tim Corbin tweeted at Mike, congratulations, saw that.
I bet Mike's phone has rung. I bet 50 D1 coaches have called.
I would be curious to know what his texts are like. I know at some point Saturday, Carl told me he had 411 unread. But I don't know. I'd
From
be
people
curious
in the business.
Yeah. He had replied to me, and he said something about. He goes, "I got 411. I haven't opened yet." And I'm kind of Mike's. God knows. I mean, we're 1,000. Yeah, to the point where it would die with battery. You just have to plug it up and leave it alone and go through them when you can.
Right.
I wouldn't. I mean, we're kind of all over the place, and it's fine today because it's kind of a decompressed day for me a little bit. I wouldn't want to. I don't think he's a bad guy. Kendall speaks really highly of him. I wouldn't want to cover Skip Johnson every day.
Mm-mm.
He's got a gruff, kind of almost odd mentality to him that I don't feel like lends well to the day-to-day of baseball. He was pissy all weekend.
The junior college coach in him hasn't left him.
Yeah, he was just
still
kind of pissy.
Yeah.
He came in Saturday night and he was mad about the mound. He kept going on and on about the mound being the weight on the mound being messed up. And it's like, what do you mean? I mean, look, was Mike being a little particular? Sure. But he also didn't want Josh Mallets to twist an ankle on a mound because he didn't go out there and say something to him. There was a hole in the mound.
Right.
I mean, and Mike is nothing if not thorough. So, and Johnson came in, and I forget what statement he used, but he walked over to Kendall and he was like, something like, "What is that?" And he likened it to goat roping and a rodeo and cattle something. He had some quote about something, and it was essentially like, "Hey, that was a screwing up a one-car funeral." That basically is what he was saying. And I'm like, okay, but you just got to be 10-3, bud. That wasn't what did it. Yeah. And then,
but he kind of lost his composure. Then it all got to him a little bit. Look, they were a good team. I mean, they won the Big 12 Conference Championship. They went to Florida and won. They went to Blacksburg and won. They got in the winner's bracket and cruised through the winner's bracket actually in Omaha.
That was the dumbest thing Skip did. And now, look, I didn't hear his press conference other than read the quotes because we were out on the field. He even had a couple of comments about that. Like, a couple people came in and he was leaving. He goes, "Where y'all been?" And he was like, kind of whatever. Like,
yeah,
like, shut up.
Yeah.
But he had a quote where he was talking about that play in the 6th, and he said, "If we're going to just let computers decide the game, I'll go fishing." And it's like, I get you're frustrated. I understand it. I get it. But they keep listening after 10 minutes, JM. They got it right by the rule of the letter of the law. It was the correct call. Now, does the rule need to be modified? Probably. I don't think the rule, though, in essence,
the baseline rule.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't think the rule in essence is bad. What I don't like, what I would do, and nobody's asking me, and that's fine. But my opinion is, I would keep everything at first base as is. I actually understand and while you can have situations that impact it really poorly, I like the essence of what they try to do at the base. I would like for them, and I get this could create more problems, I wish they would give umpires discretion to place runners.
Yeah.
Because the runner scoring from third yesterday was not impacted in any way by what was happening at first base.
Right.
He was scoring no matter what. Now, look, from that standpoint, it was the right call. The rule was correct, but Ole Miss called a break that was the rule because Oklahoma would have been up 1-0 right there. So I wish they would give umpires the ability to move runners around situationally on that standpoint. Now, that, again, creates a whole other ball of wax. But
or you just don't run in the baseline.
Well, there is that. Just stay outside.
Because if he's just a foot over to the right, the throw is still errant, and you're fine. But when you run in the baseline and you impede the first baseman's ability to catch the ball, it's interference. And interference requires that everybody go back in the same way that
it's a dead ball.
In the same way that if a batted ball hits a base runner,
batter's out.
Batter's out.
I mean,
the runner's out, yeah. And everybody goes back to where they were.
Such is life. I don't know.
Those are the rules. Games have weird rules.
Yeah. So him saying computers decided the game.
It's ridiculous. No. I mean, they got it right. And I thought they got the other one right where the kid for Oklahoma kind of maybe sort of leaned in, but there wasn't enough there.
I went back and read the rule. It's another rule that's kind of dumb. It was the right call because he made an action to get out of the way with his front leg. But by doing that, he moved his back leg into the ball. So, yes, he did lean into the ball, but not with the front of his body.
But it wasn't deliberate.
Yeah, it's a weird...
You don't have like 4 seconds while the ball's coming to figure out, hey, okay, here's what I'm doing. No, it's kind of instantaneous. And he made an effort.
He had a poor reflex.
He did, but he had an effort to move. You know, Bryce Harper got his thumb broken the other day because he couldn't get out of the way of a ball. I mean, it is difficult when the ball's
coming very hard,
bearing in on you to get out of the way.
Yeah.
They got that right. All these people are like, that's so bad. No, it wasn't. It was the right call. There was not enough there. If you were looking at the replay, there was not enough there to overturn the call on the field.
He kind of did this, and when you turn out,
your one part turns in.
Yeah.
But there was no, you could not prove, looking at the replay, that he attempted to get hit.
You would have had your better argument would have been the ball was over the plate and he went over the plate.
Right.
And even then, maybe, but.
Yeah. I thought they got it right.
The strike zones were horrid. The actual umpiring outside of the strike zones were pretty good all week.
It's the one thing. This is the first year that I've watched this much college baseball.
Yeah.
And you and I have had this conversation.
Yeah.
It's got to get fixed.
It's awful.
If you want to make it a more watchable sport, Chase, it's got to get fixed.
Not good.
It's beyond awful. And on the biggest stage, when guys are missing that badly, like, look, we can do this about DeLucia and what's the kid for Arkansas? Noland. They both benefit. I mean, that was 2-0, and in large part because the strike zone was as big as the state of Nebraska. I mean, that was.
You start giving those two dudes 3 to 6 off the plate, and I mean, hell,
when they start taking it.
Yeah.
When the catcher sets up 9 inches off the plate.
And it hits the mitt.
It hits the mitt. That doesn't mean it's a strike. You can see as an umpire, he's setting up outside of You've got to know the zone. The zone cannot be that wide.
And there's a mechanics issue to it because so many umpires set up over the inside shoulder.
Yeah.
And they miss the outside part of the plate because of it. They're guessing outside because they set up inside off the shoulder. There was some big strike zones. Up, down, in, out. I mean, it was
massive.
It was easy to pitch at times because you're getting that.
Saturday, that was a big. Sunday, it was a big zone.
It was.
Big zone.
Man.
Because, look, if you're a hitter and they're going to give you the low strike and the strike up at your letters, it's you don't have much.
Well, look, and I'm proud of you guys as a fan base because it was a pretty obviously important game when Ole Miss could clinch the national title. you didn't freak out when Cade Horton was just striking everybody out, because Cade Horton is a freaking beast.
Yeah, he was.
Those TrackMan numbers that he was rolling up there.
Yeah.
That cat was 97, 98 with the fastball, and then the slider was 7 to 9 inches of break at 91.
Yeah.
What the hell are you supposed to do? I mean,
I can tell you what Major League Baseball teams were thinking. Sign me up.
Because I had multiple ball cover to me and go, hey, he's got a 5 ERA. How is that? I'm like, Tommy John guy. It took a while. Didn't even have that slider like this until 3-4 weeks ago. There's a story in The Athletic about it. I mean, he was as good as anything I've seen all year. I mean, he was fantastic. And that's what credit to Ole Miss. They ran pitch counts up. It gets overshadowed by the late heroics, but Hunter Elliott was fantastic on Sunday.
But I wrote about it in 10 Thoughts. You don't win that game with an average pitching outing.
I mean, Elliott had DeLucia was the most outstanding player, and Hunter was number 2.
Yes.
He beat Arkansas and Oklahoma.
Yes.
With his outings.
Yes. Those were the 2 guys that won the College World Series, if you want to just put it on 2 people.
Yeah. 2 dudes who were not in the starting rotation at the beginning of the year. Hunter Elliott, who didn't even throw against Carolina in the middle of April.
They figured it out just in time. I mean,
when you say just in time,
razor thin. Crazy, man.
I know. Podcast brought to you in part by G&M Pharmacy. Their med packs are becoming increasingly popular, especially for those helping their parents manage their medications. You know what we're talking about. Med packs are basically monthly pill planners that are prepackaged by the pharmacy by date and time. Each morning pouch followed by an evening pouch, and so on. The guys over at Tyson Drugs have been offering med packs for over a decade. Now they're available in the Oxford community as well through G&M Pharmacy on South Lamar. Give them a call today to get started. Again, that's 662-236-2222.
Here fairly soon, we're going to be getting back into our Thursday night shows. Be a few weeks still, but we'll get back into them pretty quickly.
Football's almost here.
Yeah, don't say it out loud. Don't say it out loud. I'm not ready for that.
All right, go ahead.
Sorry.
Uh-huh.
When we do, those will be brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, surrounding area, call Comer, 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call the people at Southern, 662-429-4429. Again, we did all of those MPW digital postgame shows. They were brought to you by the College Corner. They're your one-stop Rebel Shop, I should say. 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, just go to collegecornerstore.com. They got all the national championship gear up. I know a lot of you have bought it. Scott's been on the board talking about trying to restock and all those things. So we really appreciate that. I know they do too. They've got you covered for game day, the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. We're also brought to you by Pinnacle. They're based in Madison, Mississippi, clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states as well. They provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much, much more. At Pinnacle, investing is treated like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle will sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan built just for you. It's mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. Also brought to you by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you're planning a summer trip still, get in touch with John. He can help you create a special trip that will make a lifetime of unique memories. Just get in touch with him, give him some parameters, give him a budget, let him give you options, and know this, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. And if you're coming into town for Wednesday for the parade or just coming in this weekend to hang out in Oxford, stop by Opa, Oxford's newest restaurant on the square. Gyros, wraps, kebabs, redfish, lamb chops, handcrafted cocktails, frozen libations, an amazing candlelit patio, and more. All of that at 306 South Lamar, just south of the Square Courthouse in Oxford.
Podcast is brought to you by Prime Shrimp, primeshrimp.com. 5 different flavors offered to you that are shipped directly to your door, and then you pop them in the freezer. Less than 10 minutes, freezer to plate, to have restaurant-quality shrimp when you need it. They've got their signature seasoning, which is my favorite. Goes with a little bit of everything. It's an all-purpose. The Louisiana boil, which is a little spicier option. The French Quarter Alfredo, you throw over rice or pasta or whatever you want. That works with the garlic herb butter as well. And then the Simply Shrimp It is unseasoned. It's great for kids, people with more of a discerning palate. Do with it what you will. So that's Prime Shrimp, primeshrimp.com. Remember, with code MPW, you get $20 off your first order. Yeah, Elliott, he was fantastic. He's in line to be the ace next season. I mean, I would definitely assume Dylan DeLucia's gone now. I don't know why in the world you would come back. I mean, I did laugh. I said, as they keep winning games, their team next year is getting worse by the minute. But let's be all right. It's a good trade-off. I would expect DeLucia, Brandon Johnson, McCants, Bench, and Kevin Graham gone next year of the guys who have eligibility remaining.
Yeah, I can't make a case for any of them to return.
Because a couple of them are COVID seniors coming back. I mean, it just doesn't.
Well, if you're Brandon, throwing the way you're throwing right now, go make money.
Because, again, we were all kind of in a different mode. Good God, yesterday.
Yeah.
He was really good in the ninth inning.
If you're throwing like that, you need to go make money.
They couldn't touch him.
No, he was electric.
I mean, I actually want to pull up Creighton. Creighton did an outstanding job sending their analytics team to handle all that.
I was going to tell you, Creighton had a radio team that did work. They used them on Sirius XM.
Oh, really?
They were fantastic.
Were they really?
They really were. Calling games on teams they've never seen before.
They did the whole thing?
Did all the games.
Oh.
Really
yeah, Creighton
good.
is technically the host of the event. Creighton hosts the event.
Their broadcast crew did the game. They were really good.
Huh.
I mean, had personality and everything. I was blown away.
I know why they do it, and I'm sure it's a positive way more than a negative because I saw their actual field, which is horrid. But I still can't get over how empty and cavernous that place must be for a Creighton baseball game with like 50 people in the stands.
No.
I don't even think you'd be able to hear the fans because of the way it's built and shaped. And
I wonder what it's like for like the restaurant owners in Omaha this week. I guess they're exhaling a little bit.
Yeah, apparently they have 2 things a year that are like this. They get this, and then Warren Buffett still does conventions there.
Oh, okay.
And like that's the 2 times they're raring to go.
Here we go.
And Ole Miss finished the shots at 18,000 and change, I think is where it ended up at, something like that.
That was really cool of that place to send.
Again, a lot of money to the pantry.
Yeah, they did the pantry here, and they did the pantry at Fayetteville.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. The ones on campus.
Yeah.
For both of them. Yeah, great marketing. They did a great. I mean, it's Omaha is the perfect place for that event for multiple reasons. It is kind of the perfect size in a way. A much bigger city, and it doesn't really have a charm to it.
Sure.
But then much smaller, and it's not big enough to handle it. It's kind of been crazy since it's been there since 1950 when it wasn't understood this is what they would need 70 years later.
Right.
But it's worked out perfectly, and maybe it's melded to the event in a way. I don't know how that's happened from logistic standpoints, but that downtown Old Market area back to the stadium is the perfect spot for the hub of the College World Series. They embrace it like, if you haven't been, it's hard to explain. Go next time Ole Miss is there. And if you have, you get it now after the weekend. I mean, it's every single restaurant. It's every single shop. It's that entire city becomes college baseball carnival for 2 weeks in a way that is hard to explain. Every place there has some sort of theme going on for the College World Series.
I was reading the Omaha is what's called the Omaha World Herald or whatever.
That's correct, yes.
And they were talking about how they kind of feel like the event has finally hit its stride.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That it feels like it's figured itself out.
Do you feel like that because the teams were big names and big crowds?
We're talking about last year, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they would sign up for a Mississippi school every year.
They're so team dependent because you could get 8 other teams and get sleepy for a week.
But you're going to get 4 SEC teams every year.
They're not all losing.
I mean, you're going to get 4 SEC teams and maybe 5 every year. And when Texas and Oklahoma join,
it was Tennessee winning from 7 of 8 being a current or a future SEC member.
Yeah.
With Stanford being the one lone.
So that's what you're going to get. You get that.
You're in.
I mean, if LSU goes to the College World Series next year, they're going to take
a lot of people.
As many people as they can.
Yeah.
I mean, and they'll be a contender. If Ole Miss goes back, they'll still take another 20,000. If Arkansas goes back, they're still going to take another 20,000. I'm not willing to bet against any of those teams. If Tennessee gets there next year, they'll take everyone.
They will.
So, I mean, the odds of some of those things happening, 100%. If I offered you those 4 teams and I said, you get them as a pool, LSU, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Tennessee.
Sure.
If one of them makes the tournament, you win your money. You going them or the field? Them. I'm getting one of those 4. All I got to do is get one of those 4. Sign me up. I'll bet whatever.
You would?
Yeah. LSU, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Tennessee. If one gets in, I win.
Yeah.
Sign me up. I'm in.
Yeah, LSU adding Christian Little from Vanderbilt and Tommy White from North Carolina State in the last week. They've got some NIL stuff going on in Baton Rouge right now for the baseball program. We may have talked about this, we may not. I love Christian Little a ton.
I do too.
I mean,
Raw
I think
skills.
he gets developed, and that's a problem. I don't know why he left Vanderbilt. I don't know what's going on, but whatever. Fine, they'll find somebody else. They'll be okay.
Oh, I don't know. The little engine that might have something going on with the carburetor. Might have an issue here. So
it's going to when the scholarships get
paid.
It's going to have a big carburetor issue.
Big time change.
Some rods are going to be thrown somewhere.
Yeah. That's the part of this that probably only one more season like this. And then there are going to be some superpowers that emerge. One of them's probably here.
Ole Miss State, LSU, Arkansas, Texas A&M.
Those would be the first 6 on my mind in some order. Tennessee's interesting if they buy in all the way on this Vitello thing, but they don't have the facilities there to do what others can do.
If anything else gets even, they can't win that.
South Carolina, although it feels
if they can figure it out.
Feels like something's wrong there. No, the 6 you just named would be the 6 that I'd go, yeah, those 6. Superpowers.
Because Oklahoma is going to get swallowed up by the league a little bit for a minute in baseball.
For sure.
The fan support's too bad.
It's Ole Miss State, LSU, Arkansas, Texas A&M. Will be studs. Like, oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dear God, how good they'd be compared to everybody else.
Yeah, you just thought there was a lack of parity.
It's where if I'm those 6 schools, I'm like, hey, we got to get rid of this division thing.
Oh.
We just need to go 1 through 16.
Because we can't all play each other.
We don't need to be playing each other every year.
Somebody's got to finish 6.
Too many L's.
Yeah. Oh, because they're all. Oh, shit.
No, I mean, God. If all of those schools suddenly have 25 scholarships to work with, and they'll have NIL money, and all the stuff that they have, I mean, look, now that it's over, you can say this. Go to Ole Miss, go look at their facilities. Go to Arkansas, go look at their facilities. I don't mean just the stadium. I mean the other stuff.
Player amenities, the whole deal.
Yeah, LSU's going to clearly investing in it. I think A&M is doing a big investment in it. All that stuff. Those programs will be head and shoulders above everyone else. Dude, it won't be close.
Ole Miss about to put $20 million more in it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And that may not get backburnered anymore after this.
Right.
That may get moved up.
I mean,
it won't shock me if the 10th's not in right field next year.
I mean, it certainly sounds to me that like LSU's investing in practice facility stuff like pronto.
Brian got a good point. He goes, this is why Butch will leave Auburn. He's been 2 out of 3 years to Omaha, but still not mentioned. It's not his fault. He did a hell of a coaching job this year.
He does a hell of a coaching job every year.
They don't have the resources.
Well, not with the schools
they don't care.
Not against the schools that we just mentioned.
Auburn's not about to go put $80 million in their baseball program.
No.
I don't think there are any plans for Plainsman Park. If there are, I don't know them.
I haven't heard of them. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's the 6 schools we just named would be the ones that you'd.
Florida is interesting, Stephen, because they get tons of talent. They've built a brand new park. They certainly can be in that conversation, but they've got to figure out what they're doing with O'Sullivan. I just talked to a bunch of people around Omaha all week, and the overwhelming consensus is that he will not be the Florida head coach in 2 or 3 seasons. So I think we've got to kind of see what it looks like after Sully.
So what are they waiting on?
I don't know.
Dateline NBC.
What's that guy who has the voice? next after the
Yeah.
yeah. Austin, eternal question. Georgia not good at baseball is one of the dumber things in the history of the planet.
Yeah.
There's literally no reason why Georgia should not be good at baseball.
But Georgia's not invested like the other schools we just mentioned.
No, they have. Ole Miss and Georgia had literally by the plans, the same stadium in 1989. Foley Field and Swayze are the same structure.
Mm-hmm.
And they have not done anything near what Ole Miss has done to renovate the place and create facilities. Daniel, the thing in right field, they're eventually doing a permanent structure that is that club level out there and going to be this brick, nice looking. You can find the designs online. It looks good.
Kind of similar to what State and Arkansas have, is that right?
Kinda, yeah. The tent setup was a way to allow fans to go ahead and kind of claim their spots. And then two, and to Keith's credit, this is correct. It didn't look as bad as everybody said it looked. It looked fine.
It was
okay.
fine.
And if you have more people wanting to get in your stadium and pay the money to get in, you let them in. You figure it out.
Of course.
So they figured it out. And what those people are doing is waiting on the completed structure, and then that's where they're going to sit and have their tickets, and that's where they're going to be moving forward. So it was fine. That's not a problem. And I see now when you win, nobody's talking about tents in right field.
Amazing, isn't it?
It's all right. It's cool. And they're going to sell a ton of season tickets next season.
You think?
Whatever the number is, done. Yeah. Basketball tickets on sale, by the way. I saw that go out yesterday.
I'm not taking that bait.
Those are for sale.
Jerk. It's always Neal's the jerk. Chase is the nice guy. Chase goes, watch this. I'm going to throw some poison bait out. Watch this. We'll put him on the spot right here.
Suddenly he has no English.
It'll be Neal's the jerk that wouldn't answer the question.
Yeah. All right, Northeast Spark, NESP.
I can hear the text. Right? What did Neal say about basketball today? Nothing. He said nothing.
Literally not a word.
He didn't say anything.
Ignite 100 Mbps or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. I've got it at home as well. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. NESpark.com, 662-238-3159. Phone service, parental controls, network security, and much more. Call the office for details. You can get the best internet in Lafayette County. That's 662-238-3159.
I will get back to the mailbag next Wednesday. Not doing one this week, but we'll start back next Wednesday. They're brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all of your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. Very appreciative of Whitney and all of her support over the years sponsoring the mailbag. 662-567-2573, 662-842-3844. We're also brought to you by Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency, connecting great job opportunities to candidates since 1967. Whether you're seeking an entry-level position or you're a seasoned professional, they have opportunities across the board. Their goal is to get to know you, get to know your strengths, see what you're looking for in your next career move, and help you find the right fit. It's free for the candidate. All conversations are kept confidential, so you've got nothing to lose by giving them a call. 662-832-5138 or servicespecialistltd.com. And we're brought to you by The Rogue. I mentioned the Peyton Chatney Show. It's up. It's brought to you by The Rogue. It's your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylist hand-select pieces from top designers, from work to lifestyle to nightlife. There's the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue. All the best items. Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Halsey, True Grit, and more. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson or therogue.com. And don't just accept what you see, but imagine something new. Chase mentioned Corinth Dental earlier, their help with our coverage of the College World Series. Every day, the people at Corinth Dental help people reinvent themselves one smile at a time. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures, including Invisalign. These clear aligners are the virtually invisible way to improve your smile. So call Corinth Dental today for a no-cost digital scan of your teeth. Let them show you the way to a straighter, healthier smile. 12 months, no down payment financing available at corinthdental.com. Also brought to you by Bell & Grove, based out of Chattanooga. Daryl Oliver and Evan Dial built Bell & Grove. It's a logistics provider with more than 35 years of transportation industry experience. They specialize in domestic freight movement throughout the continental U.S. They also provide both air and ground expedited services for customers who need to move product quickly. For more information, call Daryl Oliver at 865-672-6557. And we're brought to you by Southern Traditions Farm. It's a 68-acre, 32-stall upscale equestrian training and boarding facility in Canton, Mississippi. They've got 2 sand rings, a grass ring, miles of wooded trails, a lot offered at Southern Traditions. Horseback riding offerings from Susan Walt, also Bowers Cone. They've got really high aspirations for the future, so get in touch with them. They've become one of the leading equestrian facilities in Mississippi. So for questions or information about lessons, boarding, or sales, contact Bowers at bowerscone1@gmail.com or message them on Facebook or Instagram at Southern Traditions Farm.
I said it in the opening, but parade 5:15 on Wednesday. That will start in the Midtown Shopping Center by Snack Bar and Jinsei and stuff over there. And then it will move down North Lamar back toward the square. It will do a complete turn around the courthouse in the middle of the square. And then it will move to University Avenue, where it will finish on campus at the Lyceum. Then at that point, they will unload the, what I'm assuming are double-decker buses or whatever they're doing. I don't know what they're doing for the parade. And then the players, I assume, will walk to the stadium because that will give people time to see the parade and then get to the stadium themselves prior to the ceremony, which is scheduled for a 6 o'clock start. And then I don't know what else involved there, but 6 o'clock for that. So that is the plan on Wednesday for the celebration. And then Mike has got to get to Cary, North Carolina, because he is already missing some things with Team USA baseball.
He flies Wednesday night, right?
I think it's Wednesday night or really early Thursday morning. They had to kind of do some logistics. Even before they had won, they had to kind of set up, hey, no matter if they win Sunday or Monday, we need to do this on Wednesday to get him kind of out of here. So that is the goal, to get Mike to Cary. Jacob Gonzalez and Hunter Elliott will go with him because they are both – Gonzalez is on Team USA, I think, and then Hunter is a candidate for Team USA.
I like his chances.
Yeah, I got a hunch Mike's probably not cutting his ace for next season on the team. And then, again, his assistant coaches, Cliff Godwin, Kirk Sarloos, and Josh Holliday of Oklahoma State are the 3 assistants for Team USA. Then they go to the Netherlands after the seven and kind of – they call it Stars and Stripes weekend over 4th of July. They play a bunch of inter-squad games where you have the top 50 college players in the country playing each other. And then they will pick a final roster and then head to the Netherlands to play people.
A bunch of countries?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked. It's a little bit of an abbreviated schedule. I don't know if it's still coming out of COVID. They're not back to what they used to do. But I know they're over there and they're doing whatever. I think he said he's gone 3.5 weeks total, something like that. Yeah, it's basically all of the month. And I don't think much of anybody's in town because Laugh and Clem are going recruiting. I know they're in Atlanta for most of July. So baseball camp's not happening as scheduled this season because of the College World Series and different things. They had to move some things around. Be all right. And every team does that. I did see one message board post going, can you believe they schedule camps during – like every team in the country schedules camps during the College World Series and then moves them if they're in Omaha. That's just the way that works.
Not everybody gets to go.
Calm
as
down.
You're aware.
Calm down. They take 8. So anyway, we got a few minutes. We promised it. Jaden Rashada commits to Miami. We have been aware of Jaden Rashada and potential NIL situations for quite a while now, but Jaden Rashada would like to set the record straight and let you know that there is no NIL situation relevant to his commitment to the University of Miami. He's all in with the U. He's a lifelong Hurricane, and he just loves the South Beach, Coral Gables area as they head into recruiting this fall.
You know, I told this story back in April. It led to a couple of friends on the message board getting a little worked up because I don't think they were paying attention at the time. Now that it's happened, like Ryan Brown called me yesterday and was like, you were all over this back in April. There were signs that this was coming, something like this, an NIL sort of circus with this kid. Okay? The first sign of it, so I'll go back and I told this story on G-Pits. I'll tell it here, and if you're listening to both, I'm sorry for the repetition.
Thank you, by the way.
What? If you're listening to both?
Shows.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
In the middle of April, I was at an Ole Miss football practice, and I was talking to people, and it became very clear that at that point they knew a couple of things. I think at that point, Arch Manning and Ole Miss had already wished each other well and parted ways. And I think Jaden Rashada had become priority one at quarterback. And they knew that they had a little bit of an issue because Marcel Reed wanted to commit also.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
Well, on this particular week, it was right before Jaden Rashada was scheduled to take an official visit to Arkansas. And Ole Miss was pretty interested in how that visit went because he was coming to Ole Miss the next weekend. Okay?
Yep.
So I was paying attention to Jaden Rashada's official visit to Arkansas because of its implications to the beat that I cover.
Yep.
And during his official visit to Fayetteville, he was up there for, I guess, their spring game. And he took a photo with a couple of other prospects, one of whom was committed to Arkansas. They might both have been committed to Arkansas. I don't remember, but they're all wearing Arkansas stuff. And one of the kids who was committed to Arkansas did the tweet, hey, help, we got to get Jaden Rashada to Fayetteville or to the Hogs or whatever.
Yeah, whatever he said.
Whatever.
Sure.
And Jaden Rashada quote tweeted the tweet with, "Let's talk business."
He did.
Well, it's my understanding that as that weekend went along, they did talk business. And when they did, within 24 hours, Arkansas had another kid, I think his name is Singleton, and Georgia's a quarterback, who Gus Malzahn and UCF were pushing really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And Arkansas decided, let's take the bird in the hand. Let's get the guy now that we can get because we can't play in those waters. And so they committed the Singleton kid within 24 hours of Rashada leaving Fayetteville. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I started hearing the number, and the number was $6 million. Okay, that was the number. And I remember on Grove Bowl Day, I wrote a column because I got you to publish it, that to me, the most interesting thing about Grove Bowl Saturday was not Jackson Dart or Luke Altmaier or how the defense looks or all that stuff in a watered-down spring game. The most interesting thing to me was how was Ole Miss going to handle a priority quarterback that they really like who is got a really big NIL price. And there were people around it that were like, well, he didn't really give a number. But I started hearing kind of the Moneyball thing again, and I'm like, so you're not ready to swim in those waters either. And for the record, I'm not being critical of Ole Miss for not swimming in those waters.
Sure.
I'm just saying here's what the market is.
Sure.
And Jaden Rashada leaves Oxford, and within a day, Marcel Reed commits to Ole Miss. This was the weekend that Rashada took the picture holding Juice the puppy in front of the car and all that stuff with Kiffin. Reed kind of took the same picture too. And Reed commits within a day. Remember, I had jury duty and stuff. And since then, Rashada's stock has risen, as has his price. And now we have this story about the Miami deal and whether they have a deal or not, and Florida's collective supposedly offering more money and them pushing back against that. He's represented by two people who combined are 41 years old.
Oh, really?
Rashada's NIL representation is a 22-year-old and a 19-year-old. I mean, this is a circus. And, Rashada puts out the statement that, hey, it has nothing to do with NIL. And that's fine. Say what you got to say. I'm just telling you that's not accurate. NIL has been a big topic of conversation in and around this kid for months now.
Although he does say this. You read his thing. Look, it's still full of crap. But semantically, he doesn't say he didn't get an NIL deal. He said he didn't make his decision relative to an NIL deal.
Right, of course.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think that was written with some key words in play here. Everything is true. Because I've got it here. Any report regarding my commitment to the University of Miami is false unless I was interviewed directly. Sure. Okay. All reports of my decision involving an NIL deal is inaccurate. I would never make a life career choice for any monetary value. Why wouldn't you? As I stated in my commitment live on TV, I chose Miami because of the relationship I have with the coaches, players, and the direction the program is headed.
Sure.
I wish not to address the false reports again, as this is a time I wish to celebrate my college commitment and my commitment to my current team and teammates as we look forward to our dream of winning a state championship. At this time, I request no interviews. With all love, Jaden Rashada. Didn't say he didn't get an NIL.
No.
But it did not have a basis in his decision.
Okay.
What's weird
and
about
I don't
it,
fault.
that's what's weird about it, is if you did, who cares?
Right.
They're not punishing anybody right now.
Right.
I mean, now Miami is the one team kind of under the hook a little bit.
Kinda.
I think it's a dumb target because they're one of the safer ones. Right?
He's got plausible deniability.
He has multiple schools he's paying.
Doing NIL deals with kids at multiple places.
FIU getting a couple NIL deals in this.
Yeah.
Enough for I'm just helping out kids in Dade County.
Well, I mean, he's promoting his businesses.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's getting guys to promote LifeWallet. He is.
I know. Yeah.
And so when the NCAA comes down and looks at it and goes, "So are you doing this as a Miami booster?" No, I mean, I got kids at FAU, at FIU. I'm trying to build an empire down here in South Florida. They might go, "This kind of feels like you're kind of shady."
Okay.
All right. Well, feel what you want to feel. I'm not doing 80 deals with nothing but Miami kids.
Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, supposedly, I've heard that they're about to do a couple of deals with UCF kids.
Really?
Yeah. So,
anything coming from this in any way, or is it just an interesting side note as we move forward?
It's an interesting side note as we move forward, and I'm still waiting for because we're brand new in this. What happens when one of these kids bust?
Sure.
That's what I'm waiting to see. What happens when your multi-million-dollar investment goes belly up? What happens? How does
but these
this work?
contracts can have in them that you have to have a certain standard of play to get paid, right? This isn't like a scholarship.
No.
They can't.
NIL can have nothing that correlates your performance, even though, let's be real, this is all. Yeah. I'm almost to the point where I'm tired of talking about it like NIL. I feel like it's disingenuous intellectually.
It's semi-legal pay-for-play.
I just want to call it illegal pay-for-play.
Yeah.
Because the NCAA has never allowed pay-for-play.
No. Yeah, by the book, it's all illegal.
Of course.
Even now. It's not legal. Everybody keeps trying to act like. That's why it's my point for 6 months. We keep having two separate conversations. The coaches keep talking about this, and it's like, that's not what you're doing, though.
NIL
so stop acting like that.
NIL is what I did with Peyton.
Yeah.
That was NIL.
Yeah. Troy Brown.
Yeah. I'm taping with Troy Brown and Mason Brooks today, and they're both getting paid for their name, image, and likeness. They're representing products. Troy's representing Comer Heating and Air and Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, and Mason's representing the Rogue.
Yes.
Those businesses are using their name, those athletes' name, image, and likeness to promote their business.
Correct.
And I'm just a go-between. Obviously, we hope that it leads to a lot of downloads on our site, and we hope that it gives exposure.
Everybody's got a quid pro quo interest.
Yeah, everybody's got. I'm not doing it for the. I'm getting something out of it too.
Yeah, sure.
Otherwise, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
But a kid going to the University of X and just getting $7 million and not really doing anything, yes, it's pay for play. It's a salary, and a lot of people think they should get a salary. I'm whatever, but I'm tired of calling it NIL if there's no services exchanged other than, hey, I'm a really good football player. That's not technically allowed as part of NIL.
No. At all, actually. So
any.
Yeah.
Now that's an inducement as a recruiting inducement, and that's not allowed still. And that's where I'm about to the point where I'm going to call it name, image, likeness. I mean, is there anything that Jaden Rashada could do for LifeWallet that would be worth $9.5 million?
Well,
maybe there is.
But
I'd love to see what the hell that looks like.
Yeah. Avalanche won the NHL. We are officially in the doldrums at this point.
Yeah.
Everything's done for a bit. Unless you're into Wimbledon and some other things like that.
NBA free agency starts at the end of the week. There's not a lot. There are these rumblings about Kyrie Irving, and now there are these rumblings about Kevin Durant that are starting to get interesting, frankly.
Yeah. We have a whole week to talk. Well, no, we don't actually. What's our plan? Nothing tomorrow. We'll figure Thursday out.
Probably do something Thursday.
And we'll just kind of see. I got a couple things I'll try to get done for hand raised guys. We're not promising anything, but I'm working on getting a show. So we'll see what that looks like.
We won't do a show on the 4th, and then we'll come back on the 5th. And we both have some July plans.
Yeah. So we'll just
July will be a little hit and miss, but we have some. I'm working on some stuff for when Chase is out, and we'll figure it out.
We'll get you that Spotify link. I know it's very important. I've already emailed somebody. We'll get that done as soon as possible. Let you know everywhere that's there, and then proceed from there. So thanks for today. We will talk to you again soon. ContentRebelgrove.com, some other podcasts, different things. Rippy has one up this morning, so take advantage of those. We'll talk to you again.